All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's a Thursday and our weekly Thursday night hang, and I see we've already got a bunch of messages going on. How's it going, everyone? George is on his way to the PCA show in Las Vegas, so he's not going to be able to join us. He's flying there right now. Good to see you, George. Thanks for chiming in, and but we'll see you soon. We'll definitely see you soon. Enjoy yourselves up there. I wish I could be out there. And yes, Craig is going to be with us later. Mom, what's going on, man? Good to see you. How you doing? And then there's Tony. What's up, Tony and Brian? What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing this week? Everything been good? I was in Philadephia early this week doing attending the Pack Expo East trade show, which is a trade show all about packaging and production line packaging. So like big equipment and things like that. And yeah, really interesting stuff. Met a couple vendors that I can think we can work with as we move forward. So yeah, should be interesting. Should be interesting. But as you can see here, we're back again in the new space that we're going to take over. The crew has been back in here because the landlord asked them to come back and install another doorway in the back so that we have an emergency exit in case there's a fire and we need to escape. So that's been cool, but it's taken a little bit longer than I was anticipating. I thought they were going to start on Monday and have it done by the time I came back Tuesday night, but they only started yesterday, and hopefully they'll get it done by tomorrow, or at least by the weekend. So it's put things a little bit behind as far as like some of the other things I want to do in space, but that's all right. George is with us. What's going on, man? Good to see you. How's it going? Good to have you. Are we having more Elbow Wednesdays tonight? Let me know. All right, so we're going to start with our coffee. Tonight's coffee is, let me get it out, is from Hawaii. It's the Maui Mocha. It's from the island of Maui where they had the big fire in Lahaina. And this is the mocha. I actually have it pre-ground because, I don't have a grinder here yet. I'm not quite as advanced. And we got that, and I ground up 36 grams of it. Brian wants to know, are we going to package your own Keurig pods? You know what? There's always been that thought. Maybe one day. So we're going to go back and use the AeroPress Go that's been sitting here all week. So let's open that up here. We're going to take that and get that prepared. Again, we're going to use 36 grams of the coffee. Put that in here. Let me drop this down a little bit and adjust so you can see what's going on. All right, there we go. I'm going to take the coffee, again, 36 grams. Put that in there. Nice. Shake it out so it's nice and even. We want to get our stirrer ready. Stirrer comes in the package. Nice and yeah, look at that. Nice, huh? Stirrer. We want to get our filter ready. So we got a couple of paper filters in this little case. I need to hit. So the trade show for the Coffee Expo is next month. So I need to hit up the AeroPress guys and be like, hey man, isn't this supposed to snap? Because mine doesn't snap and it's really irritating. Maybe they'll give you a new one. Okay, there's that. Put that in. Now we're all ready to go. Then we get the water. All right, now we're just going to take this. Oh, my tummy looks all tummy. I don't like that. All right, we're going to add this. We're going to add the water in. I'm just going to pour a little bit. So 4:01 on our show timer. I'm going to wait till we're going to keep this agitating until 45 seconds. Add a little bit more water. Want to agitate for 45 seconds, and that just keeps the extraction going. We're about 30 seconds now. This extra stirring does require a bit of attention to it. Let me put that there. Get a little bit. You can see it's kind of gotten blonde. The creme on top. All right, we're at 448. Now I'm going to take that out. Put this on top. Add this, and then we're just going to press it out. We'll wait for the hiss to come on. What's going on, Craig? How are you, man? Good to see you. How are things in Ottawa? So you can see there's a little bit of a gap right here, right? So just pushing down. It's got good resistance because I have it pretty finely ground. Tilt it over so that the coffee will drip to the side. Otherwise, it can like fall over everywhere and make a mess. Turn it over like that. We've got our brewed cup here. This is about a 12-ounce cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add hot water to this to make the volume we want. There we go. And that's pretty much it. Pretty much done. Not too difficult, huh? And this is the Maui Mocha. So it's a smaller, like mocha berry. So really small berries, kind of like pea berry. So brewed this morning during the coffee Q&A this morning. And it was pretty good. I think we did a pour and the grind was off. So it took like over 5 minutes. So it's a little bit over extracted. This one I think should be all right. Of course, it's super hot. But let's get into our cigar. We're not going to waste our time here today. We've got the humidor here. Let's bust it out. We've got our paleo cutting tool, lightsaber. And we have tonight's cigar, which is the La Galera 1936 box pressed Lector Toro. And it's called the Lector because I don't know why it's called, but means the lecturer. And basically, this cigar is I got this at Widmer's Tobacco yesterday on the way back from Philadephia. I decided I was going to stop by Widmer's and hang out a bit. Was that yesterday? Tuesday. It was Tuesday night I came back. And I swung by Widmer's right before they closed and picked this up and a bunch of other cigars. $10.40, so not terribly expensive. And it's box press, so it's kind of in that right kind of price point, that similar price point to the Roma Craft Temperance Revenge. But yeah, the Lector 6x54, 6x54. So we're going to get into that now. Let's have just a little look. The Bavena that's been there for the whole time, still a bit pliable, not quite hard. Kind of surprising. Let's put that lid so we can preserve that. And what I got to do is I also got to turn on the exhaust fan. So I've got a little bit of exhaust fan up here, courtesy of Brian. We're going to turn this on. We're going to turn on all three so we get full maximum power. And then in this room, that's where the exhaust is going to be. And then there is a little window there that's cracked open in the bathroom that's going to be our intake. All right, so let me get situated here so we can start again. Tony says he's having the Roma Craft Neanderthal HS, Corona Gorda, and yes, with the dietary Pepsi. You have not disappointed, my friend. You have not disappointed. That's good. Good to see. All right, let me sit back down here. Good. Yes, very nice. All right, so we've got our coffee. We've got our stuff ready. Now so if whatever you're smoking, let me know. I'm interested to know what you're smoking, where you're smoking, what are you having to drink with it. I always want to know. I finally remembered to bring the cigar grading form with us today. That's a good thing. We're going to try to do that correctly. And last week's score, I did re-score it for the Tatuai 10th anniversary Blanc Papa Especial, and it was 75.5. 75.5. So let's go with our coloration scale here. How's the color? I'd say right about there. Right? Okay. Not bad. What we need to do is take our fragrance. Again with the light barnyard manurish. Pleasant, very pleasant. I would say that nice intensity, You know, I'm going to say for intensity, I'm going to mark it right here for the fragrance. Right. Now we're going to look for the cold draw. We're going to need to cut it open. Let's get our polio cutter here. A cut above. Thank you, Craig, for this. Looks like it. Ooh. Oh, you know what I don't have? I didn't really grab a nice tray. Oh, well. All right, cold draw. Very loose draw. Very easy, loose draw. Almost too loose. Now, suddenly, I'm having sniffles. Over here. Loose draw. You know, interesting, this pen that I was showing you guys last week, this Esterbrook, 1940s era Esterbrook, I use it quite a lot now, and it's always interesting to see how it writes on paper. Like, look at the, it looks pretty bleedy, like it's pretty thick lined here. But if I'm writing on something else, like, here, this is last week's scoring, right? Like this part right here, this is written with that pen, and it's a lot thinner, so a lot less bleed on this pad, which is a Gorda pad, you know, the nice writing pad, versus this nice paper from FedEx office. George is smoking the My Father-in-law Opalencia. Oh, something different. Torpedo with a Love Phantom Red blend. Oh, lovely Phantom Red blend. Oh, Phantom Red. Oh, Phantom. That's a nice one. I like that. And Eric is having the Recluse OTC Maduro Canu and Andy. Oh, Recluse OTC Canu, Maduro Canu, and Andy Nelson's Lemonade. Andy, if you guys are, for those of you guys are around here, Andy Nelson in our area is one of the more famous like barbecue joints. Been here for a long time. The guy follows more of a South Carolina style of barbecue. It's pretty good. You should go check it out next time you're in town. It's really loose on the draw, which has me a little bit concerned, but there's an interesting flavor. I'm going to say cold draw is kind of medium in intensity. I'm going to say 7.75. For the score. Let's move to our lighting. Back with the Canadian lightsaber. I really am enjoying this thing. How about you, Craig? What are you starting off with tonight? All right, so the initial light, not bad, a little bit of spiciness. It's just interesting. Oh, Rusty's with us. What's going on, Rusty, man? How are you doing? Good to see you. Rusty, I got your suggestion for that place in Camden, but never did make it out to Camden. That was a little bit too too out of my way for this trip. Maybe on one of these trips. So good spiciness, kind of that Nicaraguan like black pepper start off, but it's not from Nicaragua, so I don't know why it does that. This cigar uses Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper with fillers and binders from the Dominican Republic, from a farm called La Campo. What was it? I put the name of the farm in the description below. It's supposed to be a really nice farm. I believe that it's owned by Jochy Blanco. Is it Jochy or Jochy? Jochy? Jochy. Jochy Blanco is his and that's his nickname. And Tony will know all this kind of stuff. Um, I wrote it down in the description, and I'm trying to remember what I said about it. Criollo 98 wrapper. I know, it's pretty close, huh? 185, 15 away. So that should put us right again in the middle of summertime. So my understanding is that this is made by Jochy Blanco, and Jochy Blanco's company is called Tabacalera Palma. Now, I presume that his company was started earlier before his existence, because the 1936 that's on here, this box press, is meant to be an homage to the start of the factory that started in 1936. So I can't imagine that Jochy Blanco is that old. Rusty says, no cigar for me. My throat is still raw because I had laryngitis. Oh, man. I was out sick. Finally got it back today in time. Yeah, excellent. Good to have that. We will have to definitely work on that, Tony, for sure. But I will imbibe in a glass of Heaven Hill bottled in bond bourbon. Excellent. Bottled in bond. Excellent. You guys enjoy. This is starting off really interesting. A lot of good spice. A lot of complexity. When we're doing the cold draw, a lot of smoke production. Goodness. When we're doing the cold draw, I was concerned that it was too loose. That when I lit it, it's going to get, because sometimes you puff on it, you cold draw a cigar and it's pretty tight, and then you light it and then it just becomes nice. I was kind of concerned that the looseness during the cold draw would translate into extreme looseness during the light. But so far, it actually feels tighter. Like once it got lit, it kind of, right? Is there a rough time estimate? Well, let's see. This means 185. Today is 185, so that means we're 15 episodes away, presuming that there will be no interruption. Although I'm suspecting there may be an interruption during the week of the SCA festival expo, which is April 11th. April 11th. That will probably be one that I won't be able to do, because I think I'll be arriving that day, and then there's all kinds of stuff I have to do for that show. Actually, it turns out this is going to be a little more complicated. Normally, not a big deal, but this time it's a little bit more. So let's say April 11th is not included. So, but let's say between now and April, and throughout April, there's 4 episodes. That means there's 11. Let's say there's another 5 in May, then down to 6. So again, we're back to the middle of July. Unfortunately, my calendar's on the phone, and I'm streaming from the phone today, so it's very difficult for me to calculate that. But if you guys have the phone, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, what you're calculating the day to be, and we can figure that out. Brian says, Campari nice. It's a love-hate relationship. I get tired of it, and then I start to miss it. I have a drink like that. The Pims. The Pims. I remember drinking Pims many years ago when I was in college, and I was like, I feel sophisticated and British, and like I should be at the polo field. Then I didn't have it again for many years until 2014. So it's been 10 years since I've had it. When we were in London at the Concours of Elegance show at Windsor Castle. I think it was at Windsor Castle. No, it was one of the castles close to Heathrow. Really nice event, but all fancy. My friend was at the time. Well, he still has it, but at the time he just got his DB6, and he wanted to go to the show and see it. And we were with his mechanic, who's a Aston specialist. It's kind of funny. We stopped by their workshop on before I was going to go fly back to the U.S. And the guy was very gracious. Like, my friend that has the DB6, he's very well to do. I'm not that well to do. But the owner of the place was very kind. He was like, if you're interested, we do have a DB2 that's available at the moment for $225. I was like, well, thank you, but I'm not really planning on getting a car at the moment. And just to be clear, 225, he meant 225,000 quid. And I was like, I'll have to think about that. Might be a fun toy. But the problem with the DB2 is that it's one of the early models, right? So it's got the really extreme slant back, right, which is kind of cool, right? But the chassis is much more rigid, so you really feel more of the bounce. Like, it's not so comfortable. The DB5, DB6 was better. DB8, DB9 was even much better because they're more modern. The one that I really liked was the Volante. I'd like to have that, but very 80s muscle car looking. The truth be told, I only know that because of Bond. George says 15 weeks from tonight is July 4th. Okay, can't do July 4th. That's probably a crazy time to do it. Everybody has family. Rusty says maybe sometime in August. Yeah, man, we can definitely do that. Might be the 203rd episode. Yeah, that's. We were not on time for the 100 the last time. So, to be a couple weeks off, not a problem. And we might have a new space to do it then. I'm looking, not as open air, unfortunately, but there's a spot that we're looking at across the street. Just toured it yesterday, and it's a bit of a basket case. The woman that had it was really, her and her daughter were really into cats. And while the woman didn't live there, the daughter did, and she I don't know how people live. I don't know how people live in these conditions. Like, it's completely empty, not clean, but just all their stuff was taken up. But it's pretty foul, man. Like, it smells like I feel like as I'm doing measurements of the space, I can feel like, oh my gosh, man, it's like, how do you not have respiratory issues? So Rusty's asking, do you have commitments? Yeah, it looks like I will have some commitments. As far as cuppings, and maybe helping out with some things. So yeah. But nothing too heavy. Like, I'm not fully focused on anything. Really, my goal there is to do as many cuppings as possible. Try new coffees, see what we're going to be needing to buy, because now that we're going to open in this location, it's going to be time to start buying coffee. And with more people coming in, there's more opportunity to sell different coffees and make more and source interesting coffees again. That's one thing with the closure of Hamden, it's like the venue to move the product was slower, right? Oh yeah, I get that last year with Pete, when Pete was going his demonstrations. So I scored the W60, which was great, and I got some geisha coffees as well. And but I don't know, man. Do I need more? Like, I'll go look and see if there may be something cool to get, but I don't really need more stuff. I need less stuff. Craig says Partagas 898 varnished again. Oh, I remember you were a little bit disappointed last week, so hopefully this one will be a little bit better for you. But he says, you'll need to stop by and pick up my ozone generator. I know, man. I was sitting in there measuring it out and breathing, and I was like, man, I really do need to call Bud and borrow that ozone generator. Then I hear from someone today. They're like, so we moved out of the old space in January, called up BG, told them to shut off the power, close the account. They said they would. Now I've heard that they didn't, and now there's a bill, and I'm like, what the? So I'm kind of pissed off at the moment about that. So smoking really nice, like good complexity, flavor, just nice, man. This is nice. This could be a great cigar for regular smoking so far. Twonks Z is with us. Did I say that right? Twonks Z or just Twonks? Try the DJU Anniversario from Tabacalera and Gorda. Oh, okay, I will try that. I'll put that. What does the DJU mean? I'm trying to think. And welcome to the show. Glad to have you with us. Tell us where you're from if you're so inclined. And if you're smoking tonight, let us know what you're smoking. If you're having any drinking, let us know too. Tonight I'm drinking from the island of Maui, their Maui Mocha. Outside of that, I really don't know anything about the coffee. Maybe Rusty, you might know because you worked the brew. Oh. Don Juan Urquijo. Yeah. I should know that. I should totally. Why don't I remember that? Oops. So this Maui one, it's actually quite nice. Nicer than the brew that I made this morning. Cleaner, sweet. But I got it from the Hawaii Coffee Association guys, from Ralph, basically. And I know nothing about it. All it said Maui Mocha was written on the bag. I think I just filled it from there and wrote it on the top. But I don't think there's a lot of phones on Maui that means. So it should be pretty easy to find out. Oh, so that, oops. These tasted best of almost all my boxes. I have finished sampling all but the 2 Cohiba boxes and a jar of Quinteros. Oh, I think I remember Quinteros being pretty decent overall. I just see this like, what that is. I was like, what is that? And then I remember it's a sticker from one of the girls. My neighbor, who, when this was her space, her daughters put those stickers around, and I took that off the door and put it up there because I thought it's cute, you know. I've found that it's nice when children are around. So burning well, smoking well, easy draw, really enjoying. Rusty says, oh man, I have a sad story about Maui. So my mom sent the last bag from Maui Mocha Peaberry. She said it's the last one that Rusty's will have for, so this is one of the last ones. So this is the Maui Mocha Peaberry. It is a Peaberry. It's really small. It is Peaberry. Now, you know, when I looked at it this morning on the show, I was like, kind of reminds me of Peaberry, but I would think it is. But maybe it is. So the one that was at the show last year, was that roasted by your mom? And Craig Tony wants to know, how many of your 898s are left? You know, I feel like I'm sucking on this pretty hard. There's only one processing station on Maui, and it was lost in the wildfires. Oh. So any farmers on Maui that have coffee can't process it. And I guess they can't ship it to other islands, can they? And so they were burying their cherries. Holy moly, that's terrible. I wonder if you just grab a Peñagos, like one of the mechanical, and just go out there. That's rough. That's rough. Surprised nobody built a portable Peñabos. This is the last one on the top row. The 8, 9, 8, 17 are left. Wow. Okay. The Moe Mocha that you got from Ralph and you were drinking is not okay. It's not okay. You know, I started this a little bit early so that sometimes with these Toros, it takes a long time. But look at this, man. This is about that time when I would normally light up, around 30 minutes. And I'm kind of worried it's going to go really fast. Let's slow down. I should probably tap it out. So one of my friends, he likes to wear Balenciaga, right? So he's got these Balenciaga like sneakers. And we're hanging out a couple months ago. He's wearing this sneaker. So I was kind of interested. I was like, I figured they're probably pretty expensive, these sneakers. So since I was in Philly, I was going to go hang out with my cousin at her place. And, you know, she lives way out in the countryside. Like, it's far from downtown Philly, far from Center City. So she's past King of Prussia Mall. So I drive. So I was there Monday at the trade show. And really, it's a sizable show that happens every 2 years. It's called Pack Expo East. And every other year they do it. Like I said, it's all about packaging. So all kinds of equipment to do packaging materials, and then, of course, box makers and packaging makers. You know, and some of them are, you know, they're for serious big business, right? Like this one reusable bag company that I talked to. They're really nice product made in Guatemala. Reusable bags. You know, I said, well, you know, 0.007 cents a bag. But minimum order is 30,000 bags. Well, 30,000 bags. That's a bit much for me. Not only could I just not move 30, it would take me a long time to move 30,000 bags. Where would I possibly keep 30,000 bags? Right? And so, let me knock this down. We'll knock it out here because I'm getting nervous. I don't want to go on my couch. But I met a couple. I met this guy. I saw this guy that worked for this company that does a lot of the boxes for people like Gurkha, Cohiba, a couple of the brands. Really, really nice work. Like they do beautiful packaging, and like it's pretty. I'm sure it's expensive. It's not cheap, but I also met another guy from Rochester. I guess I don't know if it's a smaller company, just a different company, right? And this guy was pretty cool. Like we talked, and I told him, you know, it's my first time at the show. I'm really kind of a neophyte at this, and I don't know much about anything. And he's taking me on a tour of his line, what they do, the different types of boxes, from like pharmaceutical packaging to food packaging to stand-up packaging, and then through like printed boxes and onto luxury boxes. And it was really great to talk to him because he was someone that was, you know, understood that I'm a small volume kind of person. He was saying, you know, if you want to do it, you got to think about like quantity. You probably at least want to do 1,000. He's like, we can do any quantity you want, but the lower quantity, the more unit cost. And then he's like, well, you know, as you grow, let's say, depending on the product, let's say it's the setup and everything for, let's say 1,000 pieces, it may only cost you a couple more hundred to go to 2,500 pieces. So that's something to think about as well. I was okay. But he was really great because he was really like open to discussing things and you know, any kind of possibility. So I like that. That's what I like. And But the thing is that since I'm really limited in scope as far as what I'm looking for, what I plan to do, what I need, because I don't need packaging equipment. I don't have space that I can even accommodate some of the machinery. I just was like, okay, so I was able to walk the entire show pretty quickly. Like when I go to the SCA show, it's a decent sized show, but that will take me all 3 days to walk it because, I'll walk, meet someone, talk to them, look at products, talk to them about the product, taste coffee. So it takes me 3 days to see the show. And last year I didn't even see everything. So I was expecting something like that. So I was really planning to be there for like 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. But I was done by 2 p.m. I talked to the people I needed to talk to, saw the entire show, and I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? And nice thing is that it's next door to a place called Reading Terminal Market, which is kind of like their public marketplace. So I walked over there, really nice, interesting place, a lot of great shops. Had the Franklin cheesesteak from Carmen's, which is this blend of cream cheese and American cheese. Delicious. Of course, the thing about the Philly cheesesteaks, the meat is good. Like it's thicker sliced and interesting. But it's always about the bread. The bread is nice and crusty. And it's got this chewiness that's really just beautiful. And it's like, so I had that. That was really good. Expensive. It's all expensive now. Cheesesteaks, $15. Easy $15. Add some fries, add a drink, and suddenly you're $30. It's like, whoa, what is going on here? But had that. Then next door to that is a place called Bassett's Ice Cream. They were like, oh yeah, what's the small like? The small there. I was like, what's the large? He's like, the large is 3 scoops. I was like, oh, 3 scoops. What's the small? 2 scoops. Ooh, can I get vanilla and chocolate? No problem. Chocolate was good. Vanilla was excellent. The vanilla was excellent. So if you ever get the chance to go to Philly, a place called Bassett's, the vanilla, top notch, top notch. Oh, I didn't mark the I didn't mark the thirds, but I'm going to say we're going to smoke a little bit more, than we're going to say that the first third. So I drive out to this is about 4 o'clock, 3:30, 3:45, and I'm like, I got to get out of here, right? Because traffic in Philly is bad. And I go to King of Prussia, and so it was a little bit heavy getting out of the city, but not terrible. So I made it to King of Prussia Mall because I wanted to go and visit the Swatch store. It's like the only Swatch store in the Mid-Atlantic region. There's none in D.C., there's none in Baltimore, there's only this one place in King of Prussia. I don't even think they have a Swatch store anymore in Tyson's Corner in Virginia. So whenever I'm in Philly, I'll stop by this store and check it out and see if they have any watches. I know I'm interested to see if they have the new Blancpain Swatch collaboration. And Blancpain is a French watch company that does these divers watches, and they've created like Swatch did with Omega. Blancpain partnered with Omega with Swatch to create a bioceramic version of their divers watch, which is, I think, pretty cool. But of course, the high demand, they don't have any. They had almost all of the moon swatches, not the newer limited releases. Although I did see a release today that was talking about there's a new, not limited edition, I think it'll be an addition to the Moon Swatch series. There's a white one, a white with like black ticking. Oh, it looks pretty nice. I'm glad they didn't have that on Monday when I stopped by because I might have bought some. But anyway, so in this mall, King of Prussia, it's very fancy, all the high-end shops. There was a Balenciaga shop. So I was like, let me stop by and swing in there and check it out. And I was expecting them to be a little bit like, who's this dude? But they were very friendly. Like for a place that's selling high-end, expensive clothing, they're pretty nice. I was like, oh, pretty welcoming. Actually, even when I went to Louis Vuitton in the same mall back in August when I was there, they were super nice. Like the guy was like, "Oh yeah, man, would you like some water? Would you like to have a look at this? This is what's happening." I'm like, "Do I look the kind of guy that can buy you the talk?" I appreciate that, but so I'm looking at this Balenciaga stuff, right? And I don't know if you've seen, if you can look it up right now, they've got these sneakers that are like, they look like Asics, right? But let's say you took the ASIC and you like stretch them like this. They're all like huge. They're huge. These things are like monstrosities. You know, like if you had your 2 feet, you'd have to have them this far apart because the soles are so massive on them. If you look it up online, you'll see it's crazy looking. And I remember my friend's shoes were $750. At least I think that's what he told me. So I'm looking at these other ones that look more like they look a little bit. They're not as extreme as those big soled ones, but they have a little more loopiness on them, right? And they're pretty cool. I was like, oh. So I'm talking to the guy, and I was like, so how much? I said, these don't matter. About 750. He's like, oh, actually, those are 1150. And I was like, oh, 1150. Okay, they're nice. They were actually quite nice. Yeah, they're definitely very clown shoe like. You definitely would think that. And then they have these big boots, which are kind of reminding me of the muck boots, the farm boots that I have, but a little bit more harder looking rubber. But I think the design is kind of cool. Again, those one I think are like $1,800, or maybe they were $2,000. I forget. They were just crazy prices. I was like, whoa, crazy. But as I'm walking around, they've got like, I don't know if Balenciaga is like considered streetwear or not. I don't know much about them, but I saw this bomber jacket they had. You know those like bomber jackets, like the Alpha Industries style bomber jacket. So imagine the Alpha Industries like in a black with the nylon, right? But imagine that with hoodie, as a hoodie, right? And it had embroidery on the back about, I guess Balenciaga supports the World Food Program. So it had that stitched on the back. And I was like, that's actually pretty dope. I was like, that's a dope jacket. I would like to have that jacket. Turns out that jacket's $850. I was like, well, maybe that's worth it. I thought it was pretty dope. I thought pretty dope and stylish. Evidently, they have a version that comes in leather for like $4,000, and then they have a like this kind of material that's cheaper. Like, I think it's like 600, maybe 400 or 600, something like that. So might be available. I didn't ask if they had my size because I didn't want to entertain the thought of spending $850 on a jacket. But I was like, I did look it up on my phone when I was walking through the mall afterwards. But they only had large. I was like, but they're large. I don't know, the one that the size, whatever they had in the store, looked like I might be able to fit in that. I was like, I might be able to fit in that. But large, I don't think so. Well, I'll tell you what though, I am liking this. This is right up my alley. Just right up my alley. Although I think we're losing the burn on the edge. Right? I'm not seeing any burn. I think it's starting to tunnel somehow. Let's do a little edge lighting. See how puffed? I think it is burning on the inside. I'm going to remove this lower band, the 1936 band. A little bit of acridity now that I lit the exterior. Hmm. There's something strange. I just noticed that The smoke just blew inward. Let me go look at this. Oh, it's blowing in. Mm. That's the problem. I think that would be better. So evidently, the controller is on both sides of the unit, right? This gray part there, when I was looking at it, there's a marking on the top of the unit that says this is the top when you're orienting horizontally. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll do it that way. But then I noticed that it's because I remember last week we had it oriented this way, the way it is now. But it was I thought we did it now. I was thinking maybe we did it wrong last week. All right, so now I think that's going to be it. All right, so I'm going to say that we've gone through our first third. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. The body, definitely medium, medium plus, but I think the quality is very good. I'm going to say very good plus 875. Flavor-wise, very good as well. I'm going to say 8.5. So that means 16.75, 17.25. So that's where we are now, 17.25. This thing really does bleed a lot on this paper. I'm using the Tasha ink in this Estabrook pen. I think it's interesting how it bleeds. Maybe that's a result of the Tasha. I thought I've used this. I thought I've used my other fountain pen. I do have it with me. Let me see. You're right, Brian. Totally right on that. Totally right. No, but now it's working. Now it's working very well. So let's see here. If I do this, I'm going to take my. This is my not pilot. This is the Lamy Safari, right? Seal nib. I'm going to see that this. Yeah. So this one you can see 17.25, right? A lot tighter. I wonder if it's because the nib or the ink. This is the Pilot Shinryoku ink. Interesting. I think it's interesting. But yeah, so far, very good. I'm really jiving well with this cigar. Now, one of the things that, with changing the pattern of the blowing, so it was blowing in, now it's pulling out. And as you saw with that last puff, it wafted across this way. It had been wafting that way, now it's wafting this way. See, so now it's pulling back in my face, which makes it unenjoyable. Why are you going that way? There's no way. I have the flow going that way. This is the whole part of the fluid dynamics of a room that I still don't understand. That really, If you guys know anyone that are experts in fluid dynamics, I would like to talk to them. I would like to take lessons from them. See, there it is again. Maybe what we need to do is position myself closer to the exhaust port. Let's do that. This is kind of how we did it last week. Okay, that's not going this way. Now it's kind of going up. Okay, that's much more ideal. I did tap it out again. Brian's asking, wild camel hump fat, has anybody cooked with this lard? I have not cooked with that lard. Brian sent me a picture of that earlier, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, let's get positioned. I know the lighting here is a bit garish. I don't have much control over that yet. Maybe soon. Oh, come on. One day I'm gonna have a place that is nice. So on YouTube, I don't know if you watch Kirby Allison, but Kirby released a video just the other day, this week, about his humidor. He built a humidor at his office, and he even mentions this in his video that he built it at the office so that his wife wouldn't see it. I mean, he's got a significant amount of cigars. That's probably a good idea. So you probably shouldn't be posting that on the internet so people could see you, or your wife could see you. But I gotta say, it's really nicely done. He went to this company that does humidors and wine cellars. They built all these cabinets for him. I think they helped him pick out a nice humidification system. And it's not really moving. It doesn't really move. And it doesn't look bad. It looks really pretty. And when he has it all set up with all his boxes, like he's a big Cuban guy, so all these boxes of Cubans, it actually reminds me of some of the Cuban retailers that I've seen in Europe, specifically Germany. And I'm like, it's a respectable amount. And Mom saw that. Yeah, Mom, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. I was thinking about maybe going to the Vid Summit conference in October. And they having it in Dallas. I was like, maybe I'll go call them up and visit. Be like, hey man, can I come to your place? Yeah, see, I'm blowing it, and it's kind of stopping. It kind of goes up. I'm exhaling. It's almost like it's hitting like a thermal layer that is just keeping it down. I don't know. Oh, you know what I did? I did turn on the heater, the baseboard heater. Let me turn that off. Maybe that will be better. George says that normalcy has returned. The Tabernacle Toro is back to, and he's back to the foundation. Excellent. How was my father? It was my father, right? How was that one? This, man, I don't know how I'm going to make this last another hour. Really flying through this one. This one is both easy drawing, nicely burning, quite tasty in my book. So it's like I'm smoking it pretty hard. Maybe that's helped. So how are you guys cigars doing? Doing well? Smoking good? Not smoking well? George says that my father was great. Great draw, didn't need a touch-up, and it was a win. Excellent. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. So I told you at one point, I think, maybe last week, a couple weeks ago, that I've been thinking a lot about chopping wood and buying an axe. So I've been thinking about buying an axe. The, what is it? Still has a company called Oshpigos or whatever, Oxen, whatever. German company that makes their axes. They're really nice quality. There's also another one from like Norway, something grown or something like that, and those are all expensive. For the mall, they're like 120, 130 bucks. And I was like, man, should I be buying those? But I got a little Collins hatchet, right? So I was like, I decided on Sunday, I'm gonna burn a fire at my place, my new used chimney that Matt gave to me, right? And so I went into the woods at my house, and there's a lot of fallen branches and trees and stuff like that, but they're all pretty small. They're actually only about this thick. The thickest one's probably about that. The rest are like this. So they're fairly thin. And I was like, I realized that I don't really need a big axe because there's almost nothing in here that needs an axe. Maybe just a nice fire, like a fire axe would be good, a little bit bigger, not just a hatchet, right? Brian says there should always be a backup cigar on the rare occasion there's a quick burn. There should be. And, I totally did not anticipate that. So I do not have an extra cigars with me. Tony says Fiskars and will save your shoulders. Yeah, Fiskars are nice. I looked at those and I watched some reviews on YouTube. A lot of people that use them really had pleasant things to say about them. But part of me also wants to get those really fancy ones because I'm thinking, I want to buy it once. I want to only buy one once. Buy one axe, be done with it. But you know what I gotta say, and I kind of had the thought that it would be like this. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to hack the axe. Like, I was kind of tired. I filled up the back of the bed of the truck, the width of the bed, just one length deep. So the wood's probably only that long. I chopped about that length. But I was like, oh, this is a lot of work. And then part way through, I was like, it feels a little bit dull. So Matt gave me the axe. He also gave me one of the little pucks, the little polishing pucks. Like, polish. Ooh, it does work. It does work better. I probably should have bought more of these cigars. For me, in La Galera, it's interesting because several years ago, I used to listen to like 5 years ago, I used to listen to the Cigar Authority podcast quite a lot. I don't get to listen to it as much anymore in more recent times, but La Galera is a heavy advertiser on the Cigar Authority podcast. And, I was always open to it, and I did buy a couple when I was visiting Two Guys Cigars in New Hampshire. But I was kind of like, they're advertising a lot. Are they really that good? And it's been quite a while since I've had one, but now it's actually quite nice, man. Quite nice. George says chopping wood is like shoveling snow. It's a workout. Lots of injuries. Yeah, that's the thing that I am worried the most because I never really chopped wood. I didn't grow up in a world where I was chopping wood. My dad was not a wood chopper. So the idea of swinging these big axes now, there's a part of me that's a little bit nervous. Like, what if I like swing it the wrong way and I chop my leg off? That would be bad. All right, Tony says, lend me the Fiskars. All right, I'll take you up on that. I'll take you up on that. I mean, I do like them. I saw them at Home Depot. I was like, well, these are nice. Well regarded, well reviewed. I get the feeling that Fiskars is the company that uses technology to make better quality products. So they have these different kind of angles on the axe head, and then the space age materials on on the handles. They feel nice. Not fire axe, forestry size. I should slow down. I should slow down. But I don't want to slow down. Like it's good. It's good. It's good. This is where I don't want my enthusiasm to get me carried away. Right? I think I'm really enjoying it personally, and I think it's very good. It's very good. I think the temptation is to say it's excellent, but I don't know if I would even describe it as excellent. I think very good is really a great place to be. This is the kind of this is kind of the reaction that I have to like the revenge, right? The revenge I would not say is in the excellent realm, like the 90, 99, the 95 era, not that era, like the 90 plus era. It doesn't have that level of refinement. And this one has a nice refinement, but not to that level as well. It's very good. Last week's cigar, the Cup Especial, I was a little bit surprised, like it was good. It was a good cigar. I wasn't totally taken away by it. It just wasn't in my wheelhouse as far as the flavor profile, but still good. Okay, look at that. So here in the space, I have this big wall. It's 175 inches wide, 91 inches high. I might have talked about this last week, but I'm planning on putting up picture frame molding. So over the weekend, I bought the molding. I actually cut it on site at Home Depot to get within the right kind of. I measure. I created a design, measured it out. Actually, I'll show you what the design I'm looking at. And George says for $11 a bargain. Yeah, it's really nice. I would love to have it at $6, of course, but 10. We can take that. We can take that. This has been my little notebook for this project. All right, so this is it with some of the measurements, right? Oh, here you go. So you would clearly smoke another, but would you buy a couple boxes? Yeah, I'd buy a box of this. This could be a nice alternative to the Revenge. I think the Revenge is heavier, so I would probably smoke this first before the Revenge. So I think you can smoke this and then the Revenge. That's a nice evening. I'm going to tap it out again. So here's the layout. It's a little bit hard. There's a chair rail at 30 inches, and then these squares are the frame moldings, the picture frame moldings on the top and bottom, above and below the chair rail. Now, I drew it up on the wall in pencil, laid it out. And Brian says VIP on Atlantic 6. Ooh, fascinating. And I put it up on like Saturday or Sunday. Then I was away Monday, Tuesday. Yesterday I'm back. I'm sitting in here looking at it. And I just don't like the proportions. I just don't like it, right? So the center one is the bigger one, right? And the center one is meant to to hold. I'm going to put a painting in the middle of the center one, right? But the sides, the flanking frames, are pretty sizable. Not this, not equal. They're a bit smaller. But looking at it on the wall, I'm like, I don't really like it. I feel like it's not. I feel the sides are too big. I want them to be narrow, something and narrower. Also, Michael Ta, who's one of the guys that comes on the morning show, he's an architect, and he's been messaging me. We've been talking about it. He's like, maybe 30 inches for the chair rail. So like a lot of people will talk about chair rails being 30 inches or at least a third of the way up the wall, right? Third up the wall. On this one, 91 inches. So that's 30 inches. And the chairs that we have here, 30 inches high. So that's really the height of the chairs. And chair rails are meant to like protect the wall from being damaged by chairs being pushed up against it. But in practice, I haven't. At the Hamden shop, we had chair rails with wainscoting, and they never really got damaged because we really didn't have stuff against them. But he was saying, consider somewhere between 17 to 24, and that'll give you a larger, a larger proportion that will give you more of a higher feel. And I was like, okay, I'm open to that. So yesterday I'm taping up the chair rail to see it. Did it at 24. Like I only think 30 looks kind of low, but it's at the right height for the chair. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. Dropped it down to 24 to see, and I was like, I think it's just too low. And plus, the boxes, the frames down below the chair rail at 24 inches will become very narrow. It's like, I don't know if I like that. So I think we're going to stick with 30 inches. And then I'm going to enlarge and lengthen the center frame and look something like this. I think this is a little bit more pleasing to my eyes. So the side frames are a little bit narrower, and I think I like that proportion a little bit better. Tony says, buy 2 sheets of 3/4 MDF and you'll get more dimension and better. I was thinking about that, but honestly, I'm trying to keep it cheap. While I was at the mall, while I was at King of Prussia, I walked by this storefront that had picture frame molding that was actually raised. So they put like raised paneling and raised frames, and it looked really great, like that dimensional. Okay, how's that? Did we get it back? If you can hear me again, let me know. Yes? Oh, I'm guessing mom's thumbs up means that that's a good thing. Oh, yeah, Craig says we're back. Okay, good. Sorry about that. My aunt was calling. I've been talking to her off and on throughout the afternoon because she has an issue with her computer, and she's got this HP laptop that I don't. It's a Windows machine. I really don't know anything about Windows. I'm really bad. I'm really actually. Yesterday, I was trying to set up Windows on my Mac through the emulation software, VMware Fusion, and man, I just don't understand it. I tried using this one system called Parallels using Windows 11, and I was like, what is going on in this thing? I can't figure it out. So luckily, VMware works on the other machine that I have, so I put her on that. But she's calling me, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying to help her out. She's up in Boston. So she's probably calling and wants to know what's going on, wants to tell me what's happened. Because I told her to take the laptop because it wasn't doing something. And so I told her, well, try to restart it, but it wouldn't restart. So I said, well, leave it open, unplug it from the wall, and just let it run until the battery runs out. And so evidently what happened was is that it must have been updating because eventually she called me back. She's like, well, it's finally started up again. It updated, and now it's running again. Okay, good. So I'm not sure what she's calling about. She's having problems not only with that, but with her HP 8600 inkjet, office jet. That's evidently pretty old. I think it might just be at the end of its life. Maybe it's time to replace that one. And then her Comcast isn't working. She's trying to explain that there's she's buying some kind of prepaid plan to save money. And I'm like, you've done very well in your life. Why are you trying to save money now? Just enjoy your money. It's okay. I'm going to say that we're good with the third. And here we are again. This is the weird thing, right? Look at this. This cigar, I don't see it. You don't see a burn line right on the exterior. I think again we've come to a point where it's burning underneath the wrapper. The wrapper is no longer lit. If I put my finger right here, I can feel the heat right there. That's been the weird thing about this cigar. So that's happened twice now. Let's see how the coffee's doing. It's definitely a lot cooler, but very pleasant. Very pleasant. I'm gonna have to grab the lighter. Okay, that's better, I think. Now let's go look at our second third. I think, performance-wise, we're still at the same position. So body, I'm going to still say 875 and flavor 85. Still a nice medium. Right. What else been happening in the world today? Like I read this article today about Boeing. Boeing executives were like, well, with all these problems that we're having, cash flow is starting to be impacted. And I don't know if you guys follow me on Facebook, but I put them on Facebook. I was like, well, at least by you making all these cost-cutting measures to quality in order to save money, at least you'll have more money now to weather this storm. Historically, I'm actually very much a Boeing fan. Like, I love Boeing jets, right? I love 747, 727, 737, 57's not too bad. 767, 777s are great to fly in. But this whole thing with the MAX, where they've just totally, like, screwed the pooch on it, it's like, you guys deserve to, like, the executives deserve to go to jail. The company deserves to get a big hit on it. The FAA has a system where, they have to consider airworthiness of all the parts. All components of the plane have to be considered airworthiness and overseen by the FAA and certified by the FAA. In order to facilitate this, the FAA actually certifies Boeing employees to be the certifiers for the FAA and on behalf of the FAA, which in many respects makes sense because every little component has to be certified. So it's a bit more efficient for them to have people on staff at Boeing that are certified to certify for the FAA to certify these parts. Because, let's say like a little tiny pin, a little panel needs to be certified. Okay, that can be done quickly. But with these bigger issues, but this has also led to this bigger issue where because they work for Boeing, they're under Boeing's, influence and directive. It's kind of led us to the point where the planes are, in trouble. And United CEO Scott Kirby came out today, yesterday, or the day before, the letter to all their members, which I did get myself, apologizing for the issues and because United's had a lot of, in the last 2 weeks, they've had a lot of incidents of problems, mostly out of San Francisco. So there's probably something going on with the San Francisco maintenance base that is causing that. Brian says there was a Boeing full of passengers that, if still alive, would disagree or prefer it. Well, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, those Maxes are really a problem with what's it called, MCAS system. So they have these sensors called pitot tubes that are on the fronts that are on the planes. They stick out from the planes, and it measures, angle of attack. And if the plane, if the plane is too high an angle of attack, which could lead to a stall, the MCAS system will engage and force the nose down. So that as it forces the nose down, if you're in a stall situation, what happens if you're in a stall situation? The wings start to get air and start to have to generate lift, so the plane will fall. Well, it forces the nose down so that it will come down and then get more airspeed that will come over the wings and then generate the lift to keep the plane afloat. Well, because they built new engines on this new plane, the new engines, if you remember in the next gen aircraft, the 737, 7 and 800 models, the engines have that kind of flat end on it. So those are normally mounted like the earlier generation, but these are bigger engines that can't do that. So what they did is they took the plane engines and they pushed it forward and higher. So that's why on these new Maxes, they're fully round without the flat bottom. But that geometry change actually causes some kind of performance difference. I forgot exactly what. And they put the MCAS system to compensate them for that. However, in order to save money, one of the problems is that, the idea with the 737 is that you should be able to, they wanted to take captains and first officers that are trained on the next gen units to transfer easily over to the MAX 8, 9, and 10 without much training, right? Because if you work this all in, they have to do a lot more training, which costs the airline more money. So instead of telling people that they had the MCAS system, they actually deleted the MCAS system from all the literature. So none of the pilots that were on Lion Air in Ethiopia knew that this system existed on the plane. So as they were pulling up on the yoke, the plane thinks it's going to stall, so it forces the nose down, and they're battling with it, right? They're battling with it. until the point where they're basically nose down completely. And as they're fighting it, they're always dropping altitude, right? Fighting it, dropping, 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 dropping. And so finally they're at this point, and there's just no room for recovery, right? The room for recovery is gone. And so they basically crash nose down into the ground, impact with the ground. Brian says the whole reason for the need for MCAS was because they rushed. Yeah, exactly. They rushed it and did all these cost-cutting measures, and wiped out all these people in the process. Training was from verbiage on a 20-minute video. Yeah, that's the crazy part. It's like you didn't. So these pilots don't even know what they're doing. And I was watching this documentary on it, where some Boeing pilots or people that knew the aircraft were like looking at the footage and looking at all the data from the aircraft that crashed, and they were like, these guys did it right. They did everything they were supposed to do. But because they didn't know about this MCAS, they couldn't override it. And so they had overridden at one point inadvertently, and then they switched one of the modes on the plane, which actually reactivated the MCAS and forced the plane into the ground. And I fly quite a bit. And there's always the thought, like, there could be a crash, there could be some kind of incident. A lot of people have asked me, are you ever worried about that? I'm like, yeah, not really. I mean, I try not to worry about that. Of course, there are times when you think that, oh, yeah, it could happen. But what I try to keep in mind is that when you're at your flight level, so 35,000 feet or whatever it is, 35,000 feet, 30,000 feet, it's a lot. It's pretty high up there. If you're flying over regular terrain and something goes wrong, you have 5 miles between you and the ground. I try to keep in mind that 5 miles is a long way to go to recover an aircraft. So there's a lot of room for recovery. But man, those guys, that was really crazy. So a friend of mine just messaged me this afternoon. She's heading to Indonesia with her family. And she's like, I was looking at the flights, and I just decided I changed one of my flights because it's on a MAX plane. I was like, you know what? That's a smart thing. Because after they brought MAX units back to service, I flew on a couple of them with United. And I gotta say, I was a little bit nervous. It's like, could this happen? And then now with the Alaska Air, where the panel blows off, it's like, good Lord, man, the panel ripped out of the plane because the bolts were not properly secured. All right, limit Snooky. So that's what's happening there. Airfare's still pretty pricey. So I'm going to Chicago for this trade show. And Chicago is a major hub for United. So pretty much a lot of the flights that I'll take will fly from Baltimore to Chicago and then connect onwards. Like if I'm going to Asia, usually it's flight to Narita or Haneda from there. If I'm going to Europe, a lot of times I'll take the flight from Baltimore to Chicago and then fly to Europe to like Frankfurt. So I fly to Chicago quite a bit. I think flight to Chicago should be about $200 round trip. That's good. That's a good price. That's a good price. But man, this flight, I was looking. So my plan is to go to the trade show in Chicago, which runs from Thursday or Friday. Actually, runs Friday to Sunday, and then I'm supposed to go to the NAB show, the National Association of Broadcasters, which happens in Las Vegas. That starts on Monday. So I'm supposed to go to this meeting on Monday afternoon. So I'm looking to fly from Baltimore to Chicago, Chicago to Vegas, and then come home eventually. But it's like, some of them are pricing out at $700. It's like, good Lord, man. Vegas used to be $200 from Baltimore. Part of me wants to cash in some miles. Steven must be working late. Yeah, it seems like it. He normally is with us by this point. Steve, when you come join us, let us know. Well, he always lets us know anyway. So I'm trying to work it out. If you guys follow coffee YouTubers, there's one guy named Hoon's Coffee here on YouTube. He's a guy down in Tucson, Arizona. We've been talking over the last couple of years, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm finally going to come to the show." And I was like, "Well, good. We should let's hang out." So we're going to hang out a little bit in Chicago, and then I'm going to fly to Vegas. But I got to fly for me to get to the meetings on Monday afternoon. It means I have to take the flights that I don't like to take, which is like the early flight, like the 7 o'clock flight. So if I leave 7 a.m. Monday morning, I should get to Vegas before noon. But that means I have to get up like 5 a.m., which I really dislike. I really, not to go to Vegas. I'm like, I'd rather take the 1 p.m. flight, get over there around 5 o'clock. And Brian says, Steve is driving home. Okay, good. As long as he's safe, that's important. All right, we got half an hour, so I'm going to milk this sucker. But I'm interested to see what's going on with this show. Like Rusty was asking earlier, like, what do you plan to do? So my friend who's a producer from Nicaragua, he normally, last year I helped him by hosting some of their cuppings. So I think we're going to do that this year. So I'll host a couple of the cuppings. And then I'm attending a few cuppings, one from a company called Gold Mountain Importers. They're an importer based here in Washington, D.C. that actually specializes in Nicaraguan coffee. So probably a lot of Nicaraguan coffees in the future. Brian says, I still watch Hoon, Gadget Man, but he's enjoying. Yeah, he does. He always gets the gadgets. I mean, that's a great thing, I think. I actually learned about a lot of the new coffee gadgets from his channel. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but last week I was doing some product testing for one of the espresso companies in Italy, and they're working this new device to make brewed coffee. And it's an interesting process. I really can't talk too much about it, but it does result in crema being on top of your cup. I think we talked about this, and I think I asked you guys about whether or not you thought that crema would be a good or bad thing. But still working on that. I think it could be quite interesting. Yeah, that's nice. You know, I like going to the coffee shows. I only missed one show in the time that I've been in the industry. During the pandemic, they had a show that was really not too good. I didn't go to that. And Tony says crema is a good thing for me, and that's interesting. Like you guys make coffee in your espresso, your super automatic machines, and I was thinking about that because you guys have a lot. When you make your coffees, there's always a level of crema on it. But I've talked to quite a few people. Some people really were against it. A lot of people really weren't. So I think that's a positive thing. I'm feeling that it's losing some combustion. I think I just need to maybe slow down. Brian says coffee without crema is well, most brewed coffee doesn't have crema. I did. My cousin, they have this espresso machine at their house. It's I shoot it on the one of the live streams this week on Tuesday morning. I did it. The what is it called? The Philips 3200. Not bad. I made a coffee on it with that had crema also. Not a bad drink. I had a latte as well. They only use almond milk in their house, so it was a lot. Not bad. Like it had its own frothing mechanism, and it was pretty foamy, very foamy, but not bad. Not bad. Not terrible. They used a Starbucks coffee. I forgot Guatemala Starbucks. It was okay. Definitely losing some of the combustion. I think I need to retouch it with some heat. More flame is what we need. But I'll take a moment. I'm going to let it go out a little bit in the effort of, prolonging. Matt was cleaning out his house not too long ago, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to throw these out. Do you want them?" And he had a couple of those old school Stanley thermoses, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take those." The one he had two of them, and they were the old like 80s, 90s era, the green ones. The one that's tall that's for like coffee, and then there's the shorter, stubby one that you put like soup in. I was like, "Why are you throwing those out? They're pretty nice. I've been using them a little bit here and there. I like it. I like it." Brian says, "All brewed coffee creates crema. It just never makes it to the cup. The coffee tonight proves crema, but not the cup." I don't know about that. Because crema is really produced by pressurization of the oils. So the oils are pressurized and bubble. But under most brewing, like maybe with a little bit with the AeroPress, like when we're stirring it, there's definitely some of that. I guess you're right. Maybe there is. I'm thinking under pressure, but I don't know would that really be considered crema? Huh, I wonder. What do you guys think? I'm sure, I know Brian thinks that's crema. I always tend to think of crema as being produced under pressure, not just percolation. But that could be. That could be. So it's pretty much out at the moment. I'm going to wait a moment. All right, I can't wait that long. I would have liked to have gone to the PCA show this week in Vegas, but just no time for that. Plus, typically, this is the first year they're having it in March, which is a better time for retailers. Because, if you have it in the middle of summer, that's not as good. I'm not because of the way the cycles work. But the nice thing with it being July is that, I'll do these trips in the beginning of the year, first, second quarters, and then nothing really happens until July. So there's time to have more time to recoup your revenue and have more money to go to Vegas. What I don't like about Vegas, Brian's saying that, speaking of coffee, how is it now that it's cool? Let's try it. Let's find out. Very nice. Very nice. Quite good, actually. It's really nice. This Maui Mocha is really nice. It's a shame that they're not able to produce any this year because of the Haina fires. I just saw a video today. This guy has drone video on YouTube of going down Front Street, and it's a long way, man. It's a long way. I read an article that one of the bars or restaurants on Front Street just reopened this week. They were able to reopen, but man, I don't know. I mean, it's one thing to reopen, but and bring back your staff so they can work. But if there's nobody to buy, I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, I don't know if you can survive. But the video that they showed on this guy showed on YouTube still totally decimated. But I did see another video where they're talking about the banyan tree. There's a big banyan tree that's in the middle of Front Street, in the middle of Lahaina. Been there for hundreds of years. And of course, that kind of caught burn. But The nice thing about it is that because it's a big tree, very mature, deep roots, it started to sprout again. So it's still alive, still doing well. So it should survive, which is great. That's what a lot of people are really worried about. Yeah, even at this point where it's coming towards the end, still very nice flavor, good complexity, good depth of flavor. I don't think they've had the time to rebuild the homes. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's only one business has reopened. Everything else is closed. Everything else is not even there. Like in this video, if you can, I don't remember who the creator was, but I mean, you could see where the patches of the burned buildings are, and it's just corrugated, burnt corrugated, rusted metal still in piles. So they haven't even had the chance, or they really haven't been able, or have not yet even cleared most of the spots. So the church burned down as well. Church, but oh yeah. I mean everything. I imagine everything by the church. There is one church that I saw in the video that was in the distance, off to the side of the city. That was a big white church with a red steeple. I think it was. That's still standing, but everything else in between was pretty much wiped out. Really difficult. And the bright says, "Where are the ships of the whale watching docking?" I'm not sure. I don't think that the docks where those guys are were that affected. I don't believe. I could be wrong. That's something I haven't heard about. That's something I have not heard about yet. Every time I exhale, there's a little bit of smoke that just kind of hangs out. The fan is running. The fan is working pretty well, but me. I like to have very powerful extraction. Like I would like it just be going. Oh, we saw that already. We are coming down to the end of this sucker. A little bit of bits of the tobacco are starting to fall into my tongue now. I never really quite understood that. Like, and it doesn't happen to a lot, but I remember this one cigar manufacturer up in York, PA. It's a Cuban guy by the name of Jay Castaño. His old shop, when he was working at a place called Haynes Tobacco, I would buy some of his cigars, and like they would be like long filler that burned really well. But when I got to about this point, it felt like it was short filler because a lot of the stuff at the end would like start falling off onto my tongue. I never really quite understood that. But the guys who've been working here on the shop, crew of Ecuadorian guys, they've been very solid. They've been very solid, doing good work. Pretty fast, nice and clean. I've been pretty pleased with them. Actually, the reason they're doing the doors because my landlord came by and he was like, "Man, these guys do nice work." And so I connected those guys up, and he hired them to do the door, which is really nice. So right now is when the wrapper is starting to get loose. You know how you get to the end of the cigar, the wrapper starts to get loose? It's threatening to come off. Like here, you can see it's really floppy. So far, very solid smoke. I'm really, really enjoying this one. Yeah, it's really just sliding now. Just want to kind of push it back. I wonder if I push on it. No, that did not help. That's made it worse. So how are you guys cigars doing? Well, the NAB show is mostly about production, um, television production and television transmission. I'm going to pull the wrapper off because it just started to get in the way, you know. Oh, this might be the end. Is there space above the new back door that can be? Unfortunately, there is not. Actually, at one point they had to stop because they were trying to figure out. So the standard doors that you can buy from Home Depot come in different widths, right? 24, 36, 30. Um, but the standard height is 80 inches, right? The door opening, so there over the door, there's a beam that supports the slanted roof that's holding up the roof, right? The beam, the opening with the beam is 79 inches. And he was like, well, you know, we probably will have to custom order a door, which will take 3 weeks. And I said, well, you know, you need to call the landlord to tell him this because he needs to know. Because, you know, of course, Israel knows me better because we've known each other just a little bit longer. And we have good rapport. So he was asking me, and I said, I can tell you only so much, but you have to talk to the landlord because this is his project and he's the one paying for it. Right. So I can't tell you to do things and spend his money because, you know, he'd probably get upset with that. And rightly so, I'd be upset if somebody was telling my crew, oh, yeah, just do that. But what they did, because the door is installed now, I just said, you know, probably just notch it out because it's not a load bearing. It's not really a load bearing. It's just holding the slanted roof and there's nothing above it. So it's just basically like a little roof line. So they notched that out and fit it in. So it looks pretty good. They need to do some finish work around it, but pretty good otherwise. Just finishing my cigar. Good time. Excellent. Excellent. Craig says, I do purchase the last third. That seems to make some cigars retain more structural integrity. Oh, that's a good idea. That's starting to come apart more now. I'll have to try that more. Okay, the binder is now coming apart. Actually, the binder is floppy. I'm going to do one more puff out of this sucker, if I can. All right. Now I got ash on my lips. All right, that was nice. All right, so let's go and look at our score. I think the cigar has maintained very consistent performance. It hasn't deteriorated in any way, but it hasn't jumped in performance either. So I'm still thinking we're at the same point. So flavor wise, 8.5. Body is still medium. maybe slightly in the medium plus, so I'm still at 875. Now let's look at our burn and draw. So burn is burned fairly well throughout the entire cigar. We did have it twice where the wrapper stopped burning and started to burn underneath the wrapper. Touching that up, no real big problems. Maybe a little bit of critidity on both relights or both touch-ups. The burn overall has been very good. Draw has been fantastic the entire time. I'm going to say 875 for that, for the burning draw. Consistency is very good. I mean, we can say, I think an argument can be made to say that the consistency has been excellent, so we're going to give that a 9. Now, our overall 8.5, 8.75, 8.75, 9. I'm going to say overall good plus, so good plus 8.5. All right, so now we have a scoring. So we have 775, 17.25, 14, 15, 25, 12, carry the 1, 42. 42 plus 17.25 gives us 50. 59. 76, 75. Okay, that's not right. All right, so I'm messed up somewhere. Now I'm at 94.5, and I still have to 8.5, so that's going to be way too high. Well, let's try this again. 775. Oh, that's what it is. I totally made a mistake here. By 25. $59. There we go. 85.75. That's right. So we've got 775 plus 17.25 plus 17.25 plus 17.25 plus 17.75, and then plus 8.5, which gives us 85.75. So good. 85.75. I will put that into our spreadsheet and come up with the ranking for us for next time. If you want to see it, you can click on the link down in the description. I think that will take you to the ranking so that you can see where it will fit in before I do. I've got dust, ash all over me. All right, so I guess that's pretty much it for this week. That's our score for the La Galera 1936 El Lector box press Toro 85.75. Really great cigar. Really enjoyed it. This is one of those cigars where, like, it's not a cigar that's breaking 90. So, but it's something that I really enjoyed a lot. Like, I really enjoyed it. I would say that my enjoyment of this is very much similar to the Revenge. I think the Revenge actually had a score that was very similar to this, right around 86, 85, 86. So, worth checking out. Worth smoking again. Worth buying a box, I think. I think their overall enjoyment is very, very good. All right, so that's pretty much it. Tony, good to see you, man. Craig, Brian, Steven, I know you're there somewhere. Eric, Bud, always good to see you guys. Mom, always good to see you as well. If you're free in the mornings at 10 a.m. on the Ono Coffee, the main channel, we've got our morning coffee Q&A. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about a question that Michael Taw was asking me about what's the best brew method for the origami with the house nation from Spro. All right, so that's me for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful week. Back again next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. as always, for episode number 186, heading towards our 200. So hope you guys have a great one, and see you next time.